Today, I want to talk about Elden 'cause I finally got through. And the game was relatively long. Well, for me anyways. I know some of it could have been cut shorter if I didn't like BS half the time. But I finished it in like 60 hours, I think, if I remember correctly, 60 hours. And I say that because like I was watching some speedrunners, and of course they weren't like playing through the game like the way I would say people play through games. Like they're doing some crazy things. And I'm just like, how do you find this out? This would have literally took me a millennia to figure out, or like at least stumble upon some things they've done in their speedruns. But before we get into any more depth into this, spoiler warning. Like, I mean, you should know, I guess, by the title. I'm assuming I'd put it in the title. Yeah, spoiler warning. Game is amazing. Go play it if you haven't played it, or if you don't care about spoilers, go ahead and listen to me. But the game was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed how they had the bosses set out through the game. Like, it seemed like a majority of the bosses were optional, and in that sense, it really felt like you could play to your strengths, right? Like, if you weren't that good at one boss, you could be like, oh, well, I'm having a hard time on their movement patterns, so I'm just gonna fight another boss. And like having that sort of option is amazing compared to previous Dark Souls games, where like you would basically at most points, I think, just be stuck on one person until you beat them. It really didn't have like this open world aspect to it. I think that's what really makes this game a lot more easier, minus the magic part, right? I think magic in most games are just gonna like make it a little more easier than like melee, because obviously if you put magic in your game, you're gonna put some crazy looking things in there, right? Cough cough, comment Azure. But yeah, the open world aspect of this game really like opened it up for like I think a lot of people. Like I think that's why it had such huge commotion and like around the world, because like everyone could play it. Because if you were bad at a game like that, you could like still partake in like the social phenomenon, but like at the same time, you don't have to feel bad about it, because you can just literally level up elsewhere. And then once you have enough stats, you literally just like stat check the bosses. And I think I've done that a few times. Like I definitely think I got to one point where like having the stat check, and then along with like some crazy abilities that you weren't supposed to figure out until like you've played the game really thoroughly, but because the internet's a thing, you got it earlier. That sort of, I think, allowed me to speedrun some of these bosses. And thank the internet for like showing me some of these things, because there were definitely times where I looked these things up and I was just like, how do you do this? What do you do? And you can definitely see it too. I think there's literally one video where I'm just like, prowling around. I think it was me fighting the fire giant. I'm fighting the fire giant. I'm prowling around, and you can see me just going, the usual routes on like glitching the fire giant into a particular. Now I want to say glitch, but is it a glitch? I don't know. I don't know if it's probably not intended to be played this way, but like it's can be done this way, and it doesn't look like it's actually like destroying or like destroying the game. Just taking advantage of the environment. And I say that it's not like the fire giant is like not moving, just sort of standing still. He's actively trying to kill me still, and can still kill you in like these quote unquote glitches. But like I'm like moving around the place where this fire giant is, and like I basically make him fall off of the mountain. Like I make him fall off the mountain, and I get the free dub. Listen, a dub is a dub is a dub. I really needed it. Not the best at these Dark Souls games, but like they're fun. And I'm a huge fan of like the lore of these games too. So it's like I gotta play it. Like firsthand playing a game and then experiencing it is just like, I think sometimes triumphs over just like hearing or listening to like YouTube videos of it. So like that was an experience. Like getting that cutscene and like doing it. It's like, geez, I finally it feels good. But yeah, I'm doing those things in the gameplay. That's basically it. That's like that's from the majority of my playthrough. You can basically see how I'm playing. I pretty much have your basic, just like get to the checkpoint sort of attitude when I'm playing my games. Like I don't really try to stray off the path too much. If they're giving me like a direct route, I'll try to go that route. So it's not very like off the rails sort of gameplay. I know like a lot of people when I do watch some gameplay videos sometimes, like people playing games, solo playing games, and like people were just like, and no knock against them, but like, people just like go the exact opposite way of like the main checkpoint. And of course you can do that, but like I think that sort of thing will tack on to like you playing the game for like 20 episodes, whereas if you just go to the main objectives, you don't have to have these huge long let's play segments. And I think that's how I was trying to get it, and it still took me a long time. I'm actually curious how how long is like the or what's the average finish time for Elden Ring? Let's see, average finish time for Elden Ring. I don't know if it's finish time or game time. Is it called game time? Game completion. Okay. Average Elden Ring completion. Playtime? Completion time. Here we go. I think there's a website for it. I remember how long to beat. Right. How long to beat. Okay. Not that far. Given that I did do some extras, it says the average was about 48 hours. Median 50 hours. So it's like, and leisure is 60 hours. So like, I'm not that far off. And I'm actually kind of happy. I feel a little better. Not going like I'm not that bad. um, yeah, good game, good game. The lore is interesting too because I have like strange thoughts about this game and the lore, because I know based on previous Dark Souls games, like they're probably not going to continue on with this game and its lore. Whereas like Dark Souls, I think only the first and second one are canonical to each other. Whereas I'm sorry, the first and third one are canonical to each other. Where the second one has got its own lore. Yet I could be wrong. It might be flipping these with one another, but like the second one is by itself, and it's weird because like the titles of the actual game, you would assume that they're like canonically linked, right? Because you have Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3. Um, but I know this isn't related to Dark Souls because of course it's got the Elden Ring, and that's probably why they changed the title of it, similar to like Sekiro. I feel bad because I really want to know more about the lore, and I love how like grand the lore is. The other lore is also kind of grand, but this one feels a lot more grand just because of and I did say there's gonna be spoilers in this. I said that preemptively, so I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it. But like a lot of the things they talk about in the game were like about the gods, like the outer gods, and I played a lot of games where like you're literally like some sort of like cosmic being, and you know you're floating through your way through just space stuff, and I think it would be really cool. Now it doesn't have to be at that scale, like where you're fighting like space deities in space, but like what if we had more games of like the outer like places where these outer gods have afflicted different planets slash things, or like places in the universe, right? Like we're in Elden Ring, but like this is probably Elden Ring on Earth 1. But like what if there's an Elden Ring on a Jupiter, right? Where it's just like another place where these gods have affected. Like I think that would be cool. I think that would be really neat, and I think it could work. I definitely think it could work. Cause I do like that lore is just so good. Because then we could expand more upon like these gods, and I'm a lore fanatic, not gonna lie. Like I'm a big fan of like pretty much any Lovecraftian thing. If there's like some super cool fantasy story, I'll definitely dive into it. And this is one of those stories where I just dived into it. I was like, wow, that's cool. Like the different amount of gods in Elden Ring. There's like I think 5 or 6 total. Like you've got the death god or whatever. You got the flame rot god. You've got the greater will. You've got, I don't know if the moon's a god. I think there was some debate whether the moon's a god. And then you have like, I think there's one more I'm missing. Oh, frenzied flame. And like, can you imagine like those gods fighting each other, or like what the pantheon would look like if there was more, or if like these vessels for these gods were to fight each other? I think that would be cool. That would be cool. And I think that's something that could probably last for like a while. Like as long as the content is like interesting, or is like isn't necessarily like prolonging itself for unnecessary reasons, I think that could be probably last for a long time for like a franchise. But I don't think it's gonna happen, just because I think that they found a method on how to like attract a large audience, and part of that is just like having a new story for every series, and it sucks too because it's like it's so good. It's very much like Lovecraftian, where like you're very much a small part of like this huger story that like you can't even fathom. Well, in this case, you can fathom because you end up, I guess, more or less, depending on your ending, becoming more so in charge of your future or the future. And that's like not really a Lovecraftian thing. Where Lovecraftian, I feel like is most of the time just like you in awe of like the sheer grandeur of how much is out there, and you're just like a small pebble in like a pond or something like that, right? There's a lot to say about that. So listen, Elden Ring is cool. Elden Ring, I do like the lore a lot. One of the things I do wish to know though is like, oh, I got a text message. Um, One of the things I do wish to know is like, how does the greater will work currently, right? Like I think the greater will, for the most part, in this game, that is Elden Ring, I think for the most part it's very much hands off, and I'm imagining like what would it look like if the greater will wasn't hands off? Like would we have more quote unquote Elden beasts, or like beasts that are just like more holy aligned, sort of like Radagon, wherein he went into like his Elden beast form, and how he was just like most of his attacks were just like Elden stars esque sort of things. Like would we see like other Elden beasts like Elden cats, or like some like tiger aligned variant Elden sentries? They're basically just like these anatomical structures that are just like automatons, but like they're also maybe elementals that are just like gold looking because they're just like Elden infused. Like I think that would be pretty sick, and I'd be completely down for that. That's dope. That's dope. um, I'm kind of curious like how also some of the things of Elden Ring I could incorporate in my own game. Um, you don't know, I'm like also kind of making my own game, and I say that kind of because like it's been in the works for like a while now. It's sort of like an on and off thing. I don't plan on releasing it anytime soon, but like I definitely do tack on a lot of things I find here and there, and it's definitely more of like a roguelike. I can never distinguish the two, so I'm always saying roguelike slash roguelite. So yeah, it's, I'm definitely gonna take a lot from this game. Definitely take a lot from Elden Ring, I think. Um, yeah, cool game, cool game. I will say though, one other thing that I want to comment about Elden Ring before I like just give up talking about it at the moment is that one of my favorite parts about this game is the fact that the pathing throughout the game um, isn't always obvious. I think that's a huge thing in adding to like a game's interest factor, is things aren't immediately obvious, but like given enough time, like you begin to explore and see if something works, and then you try it. If it doesn't work, you try a different thing, and like that basically happened for me a lot. Like when I was in the Raya Lucaria Academy, that's the when you fight I actually forgot her name. Rana? Is it Rana? No, no, no. It's her mom, Ronnie. It's Ronnie's mom, the Queen something. Basically, at her stage slash temple slash dungeon, there was at one point where you had to get on a bridge in a courtyard, and for whatever reason, listen, the the little spokes that pop out to connect to the bridge that hold the bridge up, I guess, the little spokes were not incredibly suggestive to me that you were supposed to walk on them. So I was just literally walking around for a while, trying to figure out like where do I go from here, and eventually I found out where to go. I was like, there's no way you can walk on this whole thing. Like that seems like there's nothing over there. Well, I couldn't see anything over there anyways, and it was just like, why would anyone go over there? There's no like blood stains, which is also super suggestive, like a way to go. If you find like a lot of blood stains in an area, it's like, yeah, I should go this way. Um, there was just nothing over there. But then eventually I go over there, and you're supposed to go there, and you're supposed to like avoid the ball, and it's a cool little puzzle in there here and there. But yeah, that was like one of the things that came to mind. You can also find like a lot of these things, I think, within the latter parts of the game, where I think it's the I don't know the name of the place exactly, but it's a place where you fight like the dragon lord, and it's where all the storms are, and like all the dragons are whirling around. It's basically when you finish, I think. Is it? Yeah, it's when you light the goblet, right? In the giant mountain, the mountains at the home of the giants. I think you like spawn there, and everything's destroyed, and you're like, first of all, you think that it's Lindell because, of course, why wouldn't it be Lindell? Like, where the heck am I? But it's not. It's a floating like city in the air. Um, yeah, that place. There's a lot of those there. It's just like a maze kind of, but it's not mazy to the fact where that you don't really, in the fact that you can see where you're going, but like it's not obvious that it's the correct way to go, right? So it's a cool factor to the game. I know a lot of people might not like that, but like that adds definitely to like the fun of the game. I think personally, where it definitely makes it even an open world game more open world, because all these are also encapsulated within their own like little dungeon of the game. So it's a lot that makes the game fun, and I think this is like definitely one of my top games. And I think that's interesting to say too, because I was a big fan of Dragon's Dogma, and this game reminds me a lot of like Dragon's Dogma when that came out, where a lot of the characters were just like, they were like, they would spawn in the same place, and you'd figure out where they're. It sort of has like that same. I don't know. Maybe this is like a popular thing in like a lot of RPGs, but like it had the same thing where like characters would spawn in the same spot every time when you were like rest or something like that. But also it has like that element of like progression where you get the new game plus, but then there's like, okay, it's not as grand in that like it's not as open world where there's just so much to explore. It's like, guaranteed it's an older game, but like it has that feeling. And I would like to say that it's not only me who has that feeling too, because I actually went to the store, and it just by happenstance happened to see Dragon's Dogma there on the related games, and I was just like, yeah, I could totally see that. I could totally see how I would like this game, and that's just like a testament to see how cool the technology is for like game recommendations, and then how close they are from recommending each other. And granted, I've always been in favor of these RPG games, just because that a lot of people find this interesting doesn't mean like I was just jumping on it because other people found it interesting. Like this is definitely a game I was destined, for lack of better terms, to play. It's just my type of game. Despite being bad at it, still, I would say. I swear, what? Maybe I should do a playthrough with me just playing as a melee character. But it's just not as fun with a melee character, in my opinion. Like, I don't know how I'd make a melee character more interesting than it is at the moment. It's just not my cup of tea. Or, I would say Faith. Faith does have more melee-based things, but it's still, like, magic-y. I guess I could do a hybrid. No, I can't do a hybrid. Because if I do a hybrid, it's literally just me getting to, like, spam my non-melee attacks. Oh, gosh. Anyways. That's just me talking about Elden Ring. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Actually, funny enough, I might just play this over Elden Ring just because I think it would make more sense. Yes, this is going to be like a pre-recorded audio over stapled on some gameplay as we did back in the day. But yeah, let me know. What do you guys think about the game? Did you guys like the game? Anything about the lore you guys found interesting? Anything about the gameplay you found lackluster or interesting? I thought definitely some of the abilities need to be stunted a little bit. Oh wait, one more thing. I do have to talk about PvP in that game. Okay, maybe I haven't done PvP in a lot. I haven't watched too many PvP videos, but I will say like the mage class sucks in PvP. Like it's just so. I think it's so bad. I say it because like most of the abilities, there are some abilities that are like 100% going to hit. Like there's no way they're dodging it. But like a lot of other abilities are just like super slow, and like any like novice at like mage, and that is including me, who tries to PvP with it is just gonna get wrecked. Like they're gonna have people running around laps, and you're gonna think you could hit them eventually, that they're gonna mess up, but of course they're not gonna mess up. They're just gonna literally just like roll past every glintstone, comet, or iceberg you do because they're slow as hell despite them tracking, and you really need like a fast ability to actually hit someone. And and even that, it's crazy because like while those fast abilities can hit them more often than like using the regular glintstone abilities, it's like if they have the good timing, like there's always the iframes they can use to like dodge your attacks. I don't think okay, and it's easier to tell when you're playing against a sorcerer slash mage slash range user. I think less so the archers because it's not as apparent when they're gonna attack because their arrows are a little less visible. They're not as like particly. It's easier to tell with that than like a melee because the melee they're gonna get up in your face and they're gonna do it, and the amount of time it takes for you to react to that is so much lower. And it's just like they also do more damage because they don't have the opportunity to like stay a million miles away and just like spam a button. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I think honestly it's definitely more fair of a combat than I would imagine it would have been. Oh, excuse me. I'm not someone who's played too much Dark Souls combat or invasion slash PvP, but in this one I played I think a good enough amount to have like at least a small, just a small thought about it. And I think it's fair that most abilities are going to be kind of bad for mages. Like I have seen some clips of people just like absolutely spamming so many spells. You're just like, how the hell are they gonna hit? How are they gonna dodge it? But literally just like, I swear, like every melee user is like some immediately crazy like stunt devil. Like they just dodge every ability, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's it. That's it. That's all I want to say. Game is amazing. I'm loving it. I don't know how much more I have left in it to play my first, I think they call it adventure. Like I haven't played New Game Plus yet, but I'm interested to see what would happen once I start New Game Plus. If I'll like feel the need to play more of it, what will happen. But yeah, what do you guys think about this game? Are you guys gonna keep playing it for the foreseeable future? Honestly, I don't feel like I have that much interest in it in regards to how much I played Dragon's Dogma. That might be like a time thing where like I was playing Dragon's Dogma more because I was younger, had the time. I swear I have like 800 hours on Dragon. It's just literally a single player game. There's like very little besides like the Ur Dragons, very little multiplayer combat or multiplayer in it, which is weird because it's also like smaller and it's like this game is just basically Dragon's Dogma on steroids regardless how better it is. Granted, the time does help because better technology, etc., etc. But yeah, I just it was a good game. I just don't feel like I need to play more of it. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Maybe we'll do more of these like commentary type things. But yeah, I gotta look for another game to play. So maybe it's Minecraft, maybe it's Terraria. I don't know, but let me know if you guys have an idea. But peace out.